The warning siren screamed across the peaceful green fields of Veltar. Prime Cultivator Moron watched from his tower as dark shapes moved across the morning sky. The Zephyrian warships hung like black clouds above his world, their weapons charging with an angry red glow. "Send the message," Moran whispered to his aide. His hands shook as he spoke. "Send it to everyone. Tell them we need help." The aide's long fingers moved quickly over the communication panel. The message went out to every corner of known space. It carried images of burning cities and fleeing families. It showed Catharian children crying as their homes exploded behind. The message was simple and desperate. "Please help us. We are dying." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the monitoring station Deep Watch. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. But he did not care. The space around human territory was usually quiet. Most aliens avoided this part of the galaxy. They called it the frontier, the edge of nowhere. The communication system beeped. Morrison looked up from his reports. "What is it, Tony?" Lieutenant Tony Rodriguez checked his screen. "Sir, I'm getting a weird signal. It's really faint, but it's coming from way out there." He pointed toward the galactic core. "It looks like a distress call." Morrison walked over to Rodriguez's station. "Let me see it." The screen showed a face Morrison had never seen before. The alien had large, gentle eyes and green skin that looked like tree bark. When it spoke, the translator made its voice sound soft and scared. "My name is Prime Cultivator Moran of the Catharian people. Our worlds are under attack. The Zephyrian Empire is destroying everything we have built. They are killing our families. Our children are afraid. We have no weapons to fight them. Please, if anyone receives this message, help us. We are located in the Veltar system, grid 779. We do not have much time." The message played again. Morrison watched the background. He could see fires burning and people running. Some carried small children. Others helped elderly aliens walk faster. Explosions lit up the sky behind them. "Sir?" Rodriguez asked. "Should I send this up the chain?" Morrison nodded slowly. "Yeah, send it to Admiral Carter right away. And Tony? Mark it as urgent." 2 hours later, Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the main briefing room of the Terran Defense Fleet headquarters. The room was full of her best officers. Colonel Ben Hughes sat at the big table, his face hard as stone. Commander Kate Sullivan studied the tactical display. Captain Ryan Davis and Captain Nicole Brooks watched the alien message for the third time. "What do we know about these Catharians?" Carter asked. Commander Sullivan pulled up a file on the main screen. "Not much, Admiral. First contact records show they're farmers. They grow food for a dozen different worlds. No military to speak of. They've never bothered anyone. And the Zephyrians?" Colonel Hughes spoke up. "Bad news, they're a military empire. They've been taking over worlds for the past 50 years. Usually they pick easy targets, worlds that can't fight back." Carter watched the message again. She saw a mother holding her child close as buildings fell around them. "What's the Galactic Council doing about this?" "Nothing yet," Sullivan reported. "The message reached them 6 hours ago. They're still talking about it. Could be weeks before." They decide to act. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. In weeks, there would be nothing left to save. Captain Davis leaned forward. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Carter looked around the room. These were good people. They had joined the fleet to protect humanity and its allies. But the Catharians were not allies. They were strangers from the other side of the galaxy. Helping them would mean going against Galactic Council rules. It could cause political problems for Earth. "Ma'am," Colonel Hughes said quietly, "those are families out there. Kids who just want to go home." Carter made her decision. "Kate, how long would it take to get a fleet to the Veltar system?" Sullivan worked quickly on her computer. "If we push the engines hard, maybe 12 days. But Admiral, that's assuming we can get permission from—" "We're not asking for permission," Carter cut her off. The room went silent. "Ben, I want every available ship ready to move in 6 hours. Ryan, Nicole, you'll command the battle groups. Jake Morrison will lead the scout ships ahead of us. Captain Brooks spoke up. Admiral, this could be seen as an act of war by the Zephyrians. Carter looked at the screen where the alien family still ran from the explosions. Then they should have thought about that before attacking civilians. The next few hours were busy. Ships across human space received urgent orders. Crews cut short their leave and rushed back to their posts. Supply ships loaded everything from medical supplies to ammunition. The fleet that assembled was not the biggest humanity had ever put together, but it was fast and it was angry. Morrison's ship, the scout vessel Pathfinder, launched first. His job was to get to Catharian space ahead of the main fleet and see what they were dealing with. As he watched Earth shrink behind him, he thought about the aliens' words. We have no weapons to fight them. Well, Morrison thought that's where humans were different. Humans had lots of weapons, and they were very good at using them. Back on the monitoring station, Lieutenant Rodriguez tracked the fleet as it jumped to faster-than-light speed. He had never seen the Admiral move so fast. Usually, military decisions took weeks of meetings. And reports? This time she had decided in minutes. Think they'll make it in time? Rodriguez asked his partner. I hope so, she replied. Because if they don't, those green people are all going to die. In the Veltar system, Prime Cultivator, Moran received a new message. It was short and came from somewhere far away. The voice was hard and cold, nothing like the gentle Catharian way of speaking. This is Admiral Lisa Carter of the Terran Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. Help is coming. Hold on. Moran did not know what humans were. He had never heard of Earth or its people. But something in that voice made him feel hope for the first time in days. Maybe, just maybe, someone was finally coming to help. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder as it raced through the stars. The ship shook slightly from the stress of traveling so fast. Behind him, Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner worked at his station, checking and rechecking their course. Alex, bring up the file on Earth, Morrison said. I want the crew to understand why we're different. Turner's fingers moved across his control panel. The main screen filled with an image of Earth from space. It looked blue and white and peaceful, but the data numbers told a different story. Crew. Listen up, Morrison announced over the ship's communication system. Most of you know where we come from, but I want everyone to remember why that matters. Dr. Amy Foster, the ship's doctor, came onto the bridge. She was curious about what the captain was teaching. She sat down and listened. Earth is what the galaxy calls a Class 12 death world, Morrison continued. That means it's one of the most dangerous planets in known space. Most aliens think any world like ours should be empty, dead, but humans didn't just survive there. We grew strong. The screen changed to show Earth's weather. Massive storms swirled across the oceans. Lightning split the sky. Hurricanes that could destroy entire cities moved across the water like angry giants. Our planet has storms that could level alien cities, Morrison explained. We learned to build things that could survive them. Our homes, our ships, everything we make has to be tough. Turner pulled up new images. These showed Earth's animals. Lions hunting in groups. Sharks swimming in dark water. Bears standing twice as tall as a human. Every animal on our world learned to fight or die, Morrison said. And humans learned to fight all of them. We didn't start at the top of the food chain. We climbed there, Dr. Foster nodded. She had studied alien biology. Most intelligent species came from worlds with gentle weather and peaceful animals. They had never needed to become fighters. Meanwhile, on the flagship Vengeance, Admiral Carter held her own meeting. The ship's main conference room was full of her commanders. Captain Ryan Davis sat at the big table, studying reports about their enemy. Captain Nicole Brooks reviewed ship specifications. Colonel Ben Hughes looked at tactical maps. What do we know about the Zephyrians? Carter asked. Cup Commander Kate Sullivan stood up. She had spent the last day reading every file they had. They're a military empire, but they've never fought anyone who could fight back. For 50 years, they've attacked peaceful worlds. They move fast, hit hard, and expect quick surrender. Their weapons? Captain Davis asked. Standard galactic Technology, energy weapons, shields, armor, nothing special. They win through numbers and fear. Colonel Hughes leaned forward. What about their tactics? Sullivan changed the display to show Zephyrian battle formations. They like straight lines and simple plans, very predictable. They surround a planet, bomb it until the people give up, then land troops to take control. Captain Brooks studied the enemy ship designs. Look at this. Their ships are built for intimidation, not real fighting. Lots of decoration, weapons that look scary but aren't very effective, Carter nodded. They've, never needed to be good fighters. They just needed to look dangerous enough to scare people into giving up. Admiral, Davis said, that's not going to work on us. No, Carter agreed. It's not. Back in Catharian space, the attacks continued. Prime Cultivator Moran tried to coordinate evacuations from his command center. The building shook as another Zephyrian bomb exploded nearby. War Commander Krexmal of the Zephyrian fleet watched the destruction from his flagship. He was a large reptilian creature with scales that shifted from green to brown. His eyes were cold and calculating. How much longer? He asked his aide. The agricultural centers are almost completely destroyed, sir. The population centers should surrender within 2 days. Krexmal nodded. This was going exactly as planned. Every conquest went the same way. Destroy their ability to feed themselves, threaten their civilians, and they always gave up. It was simple and it worked. Sir, another officer called out. We're getting reports of unknown ships on the edge of the system. More refugees, probably, Krexmal said without interest. Destroy them if they get in our way. But the ships were not refugees. Captain Morrison's scout vessels had arrived. The Pathfinder and 2 other human ships moved carefully through the outer asteroid field, watching and learning. My God, Turner whispered as he watched the Zephyrian attack on his screen. They're bombing hospitals. Morrison's face went hard. On the main display, they could see Zephyrian fighters shooting at clearly marked medical facilities. Refugees, trying to escape in small ships, were being targeted and destroyed. Captain, Dr. Foster said quietly, those are families down there. Morrison had seen war before. He had fought in the border conflicts with space pirates, but this was different. This was not soldiers fighting soldiers. This was an army attacking children and doctors and farmers. Alex, record everything, Morrison ordered. I want Admiral Carter to see exactly what these animals are doing. The data flowed back to the human fleet. In the Vengeance's command center, Admiral Carter watched the footage with growing anger. She had seen the peaceful message from the Catharians asking for help. Now she saw why they needed it. They're not even pretending this is a military operation, Colonel Hughes said. His voice was tight with controlled rage. They're just murdering civilians. Commander Sullivan pulled up more tactical data. Admiral, their fleet positioning is sloppy. They're not expecting any real resistance. They have ships scattered all over the system, just bombing random targets. Captain Brooks stood up. Ma'am, request permission to begin advanced deployment. My ships can be ready for combat in 6 hours. Carter looked around the room. Every face showed the same thing. These were professional soldiers, trained to follow orders and think strategically, but they were also human. And humans did not stand by and watch the strong hurt the weak. Granted, Carter said. All ships prepare for immediate combat operations. We go in fast and we go in angry. As the human fleet prepared for battle, a message reached Zephyrian command. War Commander Krexmal read the report with mild interest. Unknown ships approaching the system, his intelligence officer reported. Estimated 75 vessels. Configuration suggests they are from a species called humans. Krexmal had never heard of humans before. Are they a threat? Unlikely, sir. Intelligence says they come from some backwards world on the Galactic Rim. Probably just another weak species trying to play hero. Krexmal dismissed the report. In 50 years of conquest, no one had ever seriously challenged the Zephyrian Empire. Some species sent strongly worded diplomatic protests. Others tried to negotiate. A few had even sent small fleets to show support for their allies, all of Them had run away when they saw what the Zephyrians could do. These humans would be no different. Captain Morrison's scout ship moved slowly through the debris field at the edge of Catharian space. Broken pieces of alien vessels floated past his view screen. Some were passenger ships. Others were small cargo haulers. All of them had been destroyed by Zephyrian weapons. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Turner called from his station, "I'm picking up a faint signal. Looks like survivors." Morrison turned his chair toward Turner. "Where?" "Behind that large asteroid. The signal is weak, but it's definitely a distress beacon. Take us in, carefully." The Pathfinder moved around the asteroid. There, hidden in its shadow, was a damaged Catharian ship. Half of its hull was burned black. One engine was completely gone. But it was still alive. "Open a channel," Morrison ordered. The screen flickered to life. A Catharian face appeared, green skin marked with soot and fear. The alien's large eyes went wide when he saw Morrison. "Please," the alien said through the translator, "do not hurt us. We are just farmers trying to escape." Morrison leaned forward. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help. I'm Captain Morrison of the human fleet. We received your distress call." The alien stared at him for a long moment. "Human? I do not know this word. We're from a world called Earth. We came to help you fight the Zephyrians." Tears began flowing from the alien's large eyes. "You came? Someone actually came?" "What's your name?" Morrison asked gently. "I am Subcultivator Linde. I was evacuating children from the farming stations when the attack began. We have been hiding here for 2 days." Dr. Foster stepped into view of the camera. "Are any of you hurt? We have medical supplies." "Many are injured," Linde replied. "The children are afraid." "Some have not eaten since we fled." Morrison made his decision quickly. "We're going to bring you aboard our ship. You'll be safe with us." 20 minutes later, the survivors were on the Pathfinder. Morrison watched as Dr. Foster treated a young Catharian child whose arm had been burned in the attack. The child's parent held her close, speaking soft words in their alien language. Linde stood next to Morrison. "Captain, may I ask you something?" "Of course. Why did you come? Your people do not know us." "We have nothing to offer you." Morrison looked at the child Dr. Foster was helping, because it was the right thing to do. Linde studied Morrison's face. "Your species is strange. Most others in the galaxy would have sent words of sympathy, not warships." "Most others in the galaxy didn't grow up on Earth," Morrison replied. Turner called from his station. "Captain, I'm detecting 3 Zephyrian patrol ships heading this way." "They'll be here in 10 minutes. Morrison's expression hardened. "How many people are on those patrol ships, Linde?" "Each ship carries about 50 soldiers," the alien replied. "Why, do you ask?" "Because I want to know how many graves to dig." The 3 Zephyrian ships approached the asteroid field with lazy confidence. They had been hunting refugee vessels for days. It was easy work. The civilians never fought back. Captain Vexhar commanded the lead patrol ship. He was a young Zephyrian officer, new to the fleet but eager to prove himself. When his sensors detected the human ship, he saw an opportunity for glory. "Unknown vessel," he broadcast, "you are in Zephyrian territory. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Morrison's voice came back calm and cold. "This is Captain Morrison of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have 10 seconds to reverse course and leave this system." Vexhar laughed. He had never heard of humans before, but they sounded weak and frightened. "You are outnumbered 3-1, alien. Last chance to surrender." 5 seconds, Morrison replied. Vexhar was still laughing when Morrison's ship opened. Fire. The Pathfinder was a scout vessel, not a battleship. But it had been designed to survive in the dangerous space around Earth. Its weapons were meant to destroy asteroids and clear debris. When those weapons hit the first Zephyrian ship, the result was devastating. The enemy vessel exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The other 2 ships scattered in panic. "What just happened?" Vexhar screamed at his weapons officer. "Sir, their weapons are much more powerful than our sensors indicated. They destroyed the Claw of Victory in 1 shot." Vexar had never faced real resistance before. In 50 years of Zephyrian expansion, no one had ever fought back this hard. All ships, attack formation. Destroy that alien vessel. But the human ship was not where they expected it to be. Morrison had moved the Pathfinder behind another asteroid. When the Zephyrians came looking for him, he was waiting. The second patrol ship died as quickly as the first. The third tried to run, but Morrison's ship was faster. Within 5 minutes of the first shot, all 3 Zephyrian vessels were floating. Debris. Linde stared at the view screen in shock. You destroyed them so easily. They were not ready for a real fight, Morrison explained. They're used to attacking people who can't defend themselves. Dr. Foster finished treating the last injured refugee. Captain, I've never seen weapons like the ones the Zephyrians are using. They're designed to cause maximum pain and fear. These aren't military weapons, they're torture devices? Morrison's jaw tightened. Earth had known many wars, but even in humanity's darkest conflicts, there had been rules about protecting civilians. What he was seeing here was not war. It was cruelty, for its own sake. Turner, send a message to Admiral Carter, Morrison ordered. Tell her what we found here. And tell her the Zephyrians are worse than we thought. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, War Commander Krexmal received the news of his lost patrol ships with disbelief. They destroyed all 3 vessels? He asked. His communications officer, yes, sir. Captain Vexar's last transmission reported they were under attack by a single enemy ship. Krexmal studied the tactical display. 3 ships destroyed by 1 enemy vessel. That should have been impossible. His ships were crewed by trained soldiers. They had superior numbers and firepower. Sir, his aide asked, should we send more? Ships to investigate? Krexmal thought for a moment. No, continue the bombardment of the farming worlds. When the main human fleet arrives, we will crush them all at once. But doubt had entered his mind. For the first time in his career, Krexmal wondered if this conquest might not go as planned on the Pathfinder. Morrison was helping Linde understand human military organization. The alien was fascinated by the idea of soldiers who fought to protect others instead of conquering them. Your Admiral Carter, Linde asked. She risks her entire fleet for people she has never met? That's what humans do, Morrison replied. We protect the innocent. Linde was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke again. Captain, my people have studied many species in the galaxy. We have never encountered one like yours. Most intelligent races evolve past the need for violence. You seem to have evolved. To perfect it, Morrison nodded. Earth taught us that sometimes violence is the only way to stop greater violence. Sometimes you have to fight the monsters to protect the children, Dr. Foster approached them. Captain, the refugees are asking if they can help. They want to do something to fight back. Morrison looked at Linde. What do you think? Can your people help us? The alien's large eyes grew hard with determination. Yes, Captain. We know every asteroid, every hidden base, every secret route in this system. We may not be warriors like you, but we can guide your warriors to victory. Morrison smiled for the first time since arriving in Catharian space. Then let's go win a war. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the Vengeance as the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Around her flagship, 74 other ships appeared in flashes of blue light. The sight was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Fleet status report, she called out. Commander Sullivan checked her displays. All ships have arrived safely, Admiral. Captain Morrison's scouts are already engaging enemy patrols. No casualties on our side, Carter nodded. Signal the fleet. All ships form attack formations. Kate, show me what we're dealing with. The main screen filled with a tactical map of the Catharian system. Red dots marked Zephyrian ships. They were scattered across 3 different worlds, bombing cities and chasing refugees. The enemy seemed more interested in causing fear than fighting a real battle. Captain Ryan Davis spoke from the communication screen. His ship, the Storm, was part of the first attack group. Admiral, my sensors are picking up some strange readings from the enemy ships. What kind of readings? It looks like they're using some kind of biological weapons. The refugees Captain Morrison rescued are showing signs of exposure to engineered diseases. Dr. Foster's voice came through the ship's communication system. She was in the medical bay, treating more refugees who had been rescued by the scout. Ships. Admiral, you need to hear this. The Catharians are telling me terrible things about what the Zephyrians are doing. Put me through to the medical bay, Carter ordered. The screen changed to show Dr. Foster standing next to a hospital bed. In the bed was an elderly Catharian who looked very sick. His green skin had turned pale, and his breathing was labored. This is Elder Ventar, Dr. Foster explained. He was captured 3 days ago and escaped yesterday. Tell the Admiral what you told me. The old alien looked at Carter with tired eyes. The Zephyrians have built camps. They take our people there for experiments. They are testing diseases on us. They want to see how fast we die. Carter's face went stone cold. What kind of diseases? Plagues that kill crops. Sickness that makes children unable to breathe. Poison that makes the ground dead for many years. The old alien coughed weakly. They are not just conquering us, they are trying to erase us. Doctor. Foster stepped closer to the camera. Admiral, this is genocide. They're not just taking over these worlds. They're making sure nothing can ever live here again. Carter turned to Commander Sullivan. Kate, patch me through to the Galactic Council. They need to know what's happening here. Already tried, ma'am. They're still in committee meetings. Could be another week before they make any decisions. A week? Carter's voice was dangerously quiet. In a week, there won't be any Catharians left to save. Captain Nicole Brooks appeared on another communication screen. Admiral, my engineering teams have been studying the Zephyrian weapons. These aren't standard military tools. They're designed specifically to cause suffering. Maximum pain, minimum quick death. Colonel Ben Hughes joined the conversation from his marine transport. Admiral, request permission to begin rescue operations. We've identified at least 12 prison camps on the surface of Veltar Prime. Carter looked around her bridge. Every face showed the same expression, cold, controlled anger. These were professional soldiers, but they were also human beings. And human beings did not stand by while innocents were tortured. Ben, you have permission for immediate rescue operations. Ryan, Nicole, prepare your ships for full combat. We're going to end this. Admiral, Sullivan said quietly, we're still outnumbered almost 3-1. Then we'd better make sure we're 3 times as angry, Carter replied on the Zephyrian. Flagship, War Commander Krexmol was beginning to worry. His patrols had lost contact with 6 ships in the past 2 hours. The humans were moving faster than he had expected. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, the human fleet has arrived in the system, 75 ships as we predicted. Good, Krexmol said, trying to sound confident. Signal all ships to form defensive positions around Veltar Prime. We'll crush them when they come to rescue their new friends. But his aide looked nervous. Sir, what about the prison camps? If the humans attack the surface, Krexmol smiled coldly. Then they use the prisoners as shields. Let the humans choose between saving their allies and winning the battle. The aide hesitated. Sir, using prisoners as shields is against galactic warfare conventions. The Galactic Council is not here, Krexmol replied. We make the rules now. What? He did not know was that Captain Morrison had been listening to Zephyrian communications for hours. The human scout ships had detected the enemy's plan and were already moving to counter it. Morrison's voice crackled through the fleet communication. System, Admiral, I've got bad news and worse news. Give me both, Carter replied. Bad news is they're planning to use the prisoners as human shields when we attack. Worse news is they're planning to execute all prisoners if we don't surrender. The Bridge of the Vengeance went silent. Every officer understood what this meant. A direct assault would result in thousands of innocent deaths. But surrender would mean the genocide continued. How long do we have? Carter asked. They've given us 6 hours to surrender unconditionally. After that, they start killing 10 prisoners every hour until we leave. Captain Davis spoke up from the storm. Admiral, my Marines are ready for immediate deployment. We can hit the prison camps before they have time to react. Negative, Carter replied. Too risky. If even one assault fails, they'll start executing everyone. Linde, the Catharian refugee, had been listening from the bridge of Morrison's ship. His voice came through the communication system, quiet but determined. Admiral Carter, there is another way. Carter looked at Morrison's screen. I'm listening. The prison camps are built near the old mining tunnels. My people dug them centuries ago. The Zephyrians do not know they exist. We can guide your soldiers through the tunnels. To attack from below. Colonel Hughes leaned forward. How many tunnels? How close to the camps? Dozens of tunnels. Some lead directly under the prison buildings. Your soldiers could be inside before the guards know they are there. Carter studied the tactical display. It was a massive risk. If the Zephyrians discovered the tunnels, the rescue teams would be trapped underground. But it might be the only way to save the prisoners. Ben, can your Marines handle underground operations? Yes, ma'am. We trained for tunnel fighting on Europa. My teams are ready. Carter made her decision. All right. We do this the hard way. Ben, take your Marines and the Catharian guides. Hit every camp at exactly the same time. Ryan and Nicole? Prepare for full assault the moment Ben gives the all-clear. What about their demand for surrender? Sullivan asked. Carter's smile was cold as winter. Send them a message. Tell them we have a counteroffer. What should I tell them, Admiral? Tell them that humans don't negotiate with monsters. Tell them they have one chance to release all prisoners and leave this system. If they refuse, we will show them why Earth is called a death world. The message was sent. On the Zephyrian flagship, Krexmal read it with growing disbelief. They refuse. To surrender? He asked his aide. Yes, sir. They demand that we withdraw immediately. Krexmal stared at the tactical display. 75 ships against his 200. The humans were either very brave or very stupid. Sir, his weapons officer called out, should we begin executing? Prisoners as planned? Krexmal was about to give the order when his ship shook from an explosion, then another. Alarms began blaring throughout the flagship. What's happening? He shouted. Double quote, sir. We're under attack. Human ships are hitting our outer patrol lines. Krexmal looked at his screens in confusion. The main human fleet was still hours away, but somehow human ships were already fighting his forces. What he did not know was that Captain Morrison had been moving his scout ships into position for hours. The small fast vessels had used the asteroid field for cover, getting close enough to strike at Zephyrian ships before they could react. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're getting reports from the surface. Explosions near the prison camps. Our ground forces are under attack. Krexmal's confidence finally broke. This was not going according to plan. The humans were not following the rules of civilized warfare. They were fighting like the savage Deathworlders they claimed to be, and for the first time in 50 years of conquest, War Commander Krexmal was afraid. Colonel Ben Hughes crouched in the dark tunnel beneath Prison Camp 7. Behind him, 20 human Marines followed silently. Their Catharian guide, a young farmer named Telmos, pointed toward a metal grate above their heads. The guard station is directly above, Telmos whispered. 12 soldiers, maybe 15. Hughes nodded and spoke into his radio. All teams, report status. Team 2 in position, came the reply. Team 3 ready. Team 4 has visual on the target. Team 5 here, another voice said. We can see the prisoners. About 300. In this camp alone, Hughes checked his watch. 30 seconds. Remember, we hit all camps at exactly the same time. No mistakes. Above ground, Admiral Carter watched the tactical display on the Vengeance. The Zephyrian fleet was moving into defensive positions around Veltar Prime. 200 enemy ships formed a wall between the human fleet and the planet. Kate, Carter said to Commander Sullivan, as soon as Ben gives the all-clear, we go in. Fast and hard. All ships report ready, Admiral. Sullivan replied. Captain Morrison's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, my scouts have identified the Zephyrian command ship. It's the big one in the center of their formation. Good work, Jake. When this starts, I want that ship taken alive if possible. We need their commander to answer for what they've done here. In the tunnels, Hughes raised his hand. 10 seconds, he whispered. The seconds ticked by slowly. Hughes could hear his own heartbeat. Somewhere above him, innocent people were waiting to be rescued. They had been tortured and experimented on by creatures who thought of them as less than animals. Go, Hughes said. The metal grate exploded upward as human Marines poured into the guard station. The Zephyrian soldiers barely had time to scream before they were overwhelmed. Hughes's team moved like a machine, fast and precise and deadly. Camp 7 secured, Hughes reported. No casualties on our side. Camp 3 secured, came another voice. Camp 9 secured. One by one, all 12 camps reported the same thing. The prisoners were free. War Commander Krexmal felt his flagship shake as another explosion rocked the vessel. On his screens, he could see human ships attacking from all directions. They were not following any battle plan, he understood. How are they moving so fast? He shouted at his tactical officer. Sir, their ships seem to be designed for high-speed combat. They're using hit-and-run tactics. Another explosion closer. This time, Krexmal watched as one of his heavy cruisers was torn apart by human weapons. The enemy ships were smaller than his, but their weapons hit much harder. Sir, his communications officer called out, all prison camps have gone silent. We're not receiving any transmissions from the surface. Krexmal's blood ran cold. Without the prisoners as shields, his tactical advantage was gone. Signal the fleet. All ships attack formation. Destroy the human vessels. But the Zephyrian fleet was not ready for what happened next. Captain Ryan Davis brought the storm in. Fast and low, his ship's weapons blazing. The human vessel had been designed to survive solar radiation and asteroid impacts. Zephyrian energy weapons barely scratched its armor. Target their engines, Davis ordered his weapons officer. I want them crippled, not destroyed. The storm's weapons found their mark. A Zephyrian cruiser spun helplessly as its engines exploded. Captain Nicole Brooks commanded her ship like a dancer. The Thunder moved between enemy vessels too fast for their heavy weapons to track. Her ship had been a mining vessel before the war, equipped with cutting tools designed to slice through solid rock. Those same tools cut through Zephyrian armor like paper. This is for the children, Brooks said as her weapons destroyed another enemy ship on the surface. Colonel Hughes led his Marines through the rescued prisoners. Dr. Foster had come down from orbit to help treat the wounded. What she found made her sick with anger. These aren't battle wounds, she told Hughes. These are torture marks. They've been experimenting on children. Hughes looked at a young Catharian girl who could not have been more than 6 years old. Her arm showed injection marks where the Zephyrians had tested their biological weapons. Doctor, Hughes said quietly, how many will survive? Most of them if we can get them proper treatment, but some ... She looked at the older prisoners. Some have been here too long. Hughes spoke into his radio. Admiral, we need immediate medical evacuation. And ma'am? When you catch the commander of this fleet, save some of him for me. In space, the battle was turning into a massacre. The Zephyrian fleet outnumbered the humans 3-1. But numbers meant nothing when the enemy could not hit their targets. Commander. Sullivan watched the tactical display with professional satisfaction. Admiral, enemy fleet cohesion is breaking down. They're starting to panic. Carter could see it too. Zephyrian ships were breaking formation, trying to escape the human attack, but there was nowhere to run. Jake, Carter called to Captain Morrison, how close can you get to their command ship? Close enough to board her if you want, Admiral. Do it. Take their commander alive. The Pathfinder and 2 other scout ships broke away from the main battle. They moved toward the Zephyrian flagship like hunting wolves. War Commander Krexmal watched his fleet fall apart around him. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled. The others were trying to retreat, but the human vessels were faster. Sir, his aide said, perhaps we should consider surrender. Never, Krexmal snarled. "Signal all remaining ships, ramming speed. If we're going to die, we take some of them with us." But before he could give the order, his ship shook from a massive impact. Human Marines were cutting through his hull. Captain Morrison led the boarding party personally. His Marines moved through the Zephyrian ship like a storm, overwhelming all resistance. Within minutes, they had reached the bridge. Krexmal drew his sidearm, but Morrison was faster. The human captain's weapon fired once, and the Zephyrian commander fell to the deck, wounded but alive. "War Commander Krexmal," Morrison said, "you are under arrest for crimes against sentient beings." The battle was over in less than 2 hours. Of the 200 Zephyrian ships, 43 had been destroyed. The rest had surrendered or been captured. The human fleet had lost only 2 vessels, and those crews had been rescued. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the captured Zephyrian flagship. Around her, human Marines guarded alien prisoners. Through the view screen, she could see the rescued Catharian refugees being taken to human medical ships. Prime Cultivator Moron appeared on the communication screen. The old alien was crying, but these were tears of joy. "Admiral Carter," he said. "How can we ever thank you?" "By living," Carter replied. "By rebuilding your worlds and raising your children in peace." "That's thanks enough." Commander Sullivan approached with a datapad. "Admiral, we found evidence of other Zephyrian attacks. At least 20 worlds have been hit in the past 10 years. Carter nodded grimly. "Send the evidence to the Galactic Council. And send a message to Earth. Tell them we need more ships out here. Tate, there are other species out there who need help. Other bullies who think they can hurt the innocent without consequences." Carter looked out at the stars. "It's time the galaxy learned what humans do when we're really angry." 3 days later, the Galactic Council received a formal communication from Earth. It was simple and direct. "The Terran Defense Fleet hereby offers protection to any peaceful species threatened by military aggression. We do not ask for payment. We do not require treaties. We ask only that you call for help when you need it. The children of Earth stand ready to answer." The message was signed by every human admiral and approved by Earth's government. War Commander Krexmal, now a prisoner, awaiting trial, was interviewed by a galactic news service. The reporter asked him what he had learned from his defeat. "I learned," Krexmal said quietly, "that there are worse things in the galaxy than Deathworlders." "What could be worse than Deathworlders?" the reporter asked. Krexmal looked directly into the camera. "Deathworlders who are angry." In the years that followed, no species in the galaxy would forget the lesson learned at Veltar. When innocent people called for help, humans answered. And when humans answered, they brought the fury of Earth with them. The Zephyrian Empire fell within a year. Other aggressive species learned to look for different targets. And in the quiet farms of Veltar, Catharian children grew up knowing that somewhere among the stars, the humans were watching over them. The galaxy had found its guardians.